Alright, so this is my level. Just to give a little quick description, it's an abandoned mansion. So I just try to create rooms that convince players that it's a mansion, such as a foyer, grand hall, master bedroom, things like that. And to contribute to the abandoned theme, I have things knocked over and things scattered throughout the floor. And as you can see in the back, this door is barricaded just to convince players that something happened here. And when they see the Zeds, they're more drawn to my story of the mansion being abandoned because of the Zeds. So when players spawn in, they spawn in at the foyer. This is good because it shows that in front there's a grand hall and there's stairs that lead to a second floor, so it shows them that there are two floors. Also, because of the open area, it takes a while for the Zeds to first come towards them, which gives them a little breathing room to act before the Zeds, and it draws them into the level, brings them to the level slowly. At the top, we have a gap that players can use to get back down to the second floor. So it just creates a loop to get from the second floor to the first, and also allows the players to escape the Zeds. Um, at the top, there is a vase right here. I use it to direct player movement, so I want them to be more encouraged to move to the right and stay on the second floor, or move to the left and drop through the gap back down to the first floor instead of just going straight down. Just to get them to move around the map a little bit more. Um, as you can see, there are things scattered throughout the floor, and the door is barricaded just to contribute to the theme of the abandoned mansion. So back over into the game, we come over to the Grand Hall. In the Grand Hall, there's a lot of open area, and it's a mix of open area and choke points. So the open area is over here. The choke points are these narrow areas over here. And I just use this just to create an interesting space, so that players can run around, but then they'll have times where they're forced to fight the Zeds. So the open area you can try to hold out, but in the choke points you'll be forced to fight, as in such right now. That's what I'm doing right now. Um, and those statues, the four statues are there for two reasons: for direct player movement. So if they come over here, instead of going straight, they'll be more likely to go right or more likely to go left, which can bring them into other areas of the map. So if they're from over here, they'll be more likely to go left up these stairs, or more likely to go right up those stairs. And if they're coming from over here, they'll be more likely to go right over there and left over there. So just use direct player movement. That's the first reason. And the second reason is that if they're standing right here, Zeds could come from the foyer, so instead of giving the players a direct view of the foyer, their view will be blocked. Um, and if we come over here, we can see that there are gaps up here where Zeds can drop down from above, and Zeds can come from these doors, as you saw through the gameplay. Um, just to give opportunities for Zeds to come in all directions to make it more difficult to stay in this area, so that players will be forced to move to other areas, and they won't just stay there forever. So that's the Grand Hall. Come over here to the library. This library contains open areas, so that when you're moving from the choke points of the Grand Hall, you'll have more open area to fight the Zeds. There are stairs up here. They lead to the second floor. We'll go see that later. You can wall this door right there so that you can hold out. Try and hold out in the library. And uh, I tried to create. I tried to give the layout a lot of stuff so that we can make the space a bit more interesting. So the tables could try to split the player's path to the left or to the right, so that they don't just run straight the entire time, and there's things scattered throughout the middle just to contribute to the theme. Um, and then if you come in the back from the library, there's the back hallway. Um, there's stairs that lead to the second floor of the grand hall, and there's a door over here that leads to the display room. Display room is just a smaller room used to bring players to other locations, get them to move to other areas. So if you come from over here, you can move back over to the Grand Hall where we first started off at. Um, and so the first floor is just used to contain a lot of open areas that can get players to move around, and it has loops that players can use to move from one area to the next pretty easily. They can run without feeling trapped. And the choke points in the Grand Hall, you can use those to get to open areas. And just to show the critical route, we moved from the foyer all the way into the Grand Hall, to the library, to the back hallway, to the display room, back over to the Grand Hall, and back over into the foyer. So in earlier waves, the first level is used as a good way to, the first floor is used as a good way to hold out, but in later waves is used as a good way to get away from the Zeds. So in the second floor in the upper hallway, we have areas on the right and left that you can use to drop back down to the foyer on the first floor. So there's the area over here you can use to drop back down as well. And that's just used to escape from the Zeds, and also just used to create a loop to get back down to the second floor, to the first floor. And this upper hallway leads to the and I try to attract the player's attention over there by creating things knocked down so they will be drawn over to it. For example, this knockdown chair, they'll be drawn over there and be more likely to come over here. And this upper hallway leads to the fireplace rooms. Fireplace rooms are just small rooms used to move to other rooms. You either get there from the main area or through the alternative route. And using the alternative route, you can get back down to the foyer faster. However, because that alternative route is smaller, you'll be put into situations where you're forced to fight the Zeds more often because it's smaller. And you can also weld doors over here and try to hold out from one direction if you wanted to. Next, we have the pool/billiard room. It's just a small area used to promote movement. What's interesting is this table layout. So because the table's in the way, you have to go around that. Because you go around that, you won't see what's coming from this area, from this side. So then you'll be more blind and more surprised when Zeds come from around there. Up top, we have the upper area of the Grand Hall. This is the main choke point area. You can drop down there to escape from the Zeds. You can drop down here to escape from the Zeds. This area leads back to the back hallway that we saw at first. And you can drop down here to escape the Zeds. Because this narrow area, you'll be more forced to fight the Zeds. And because of the space, Zeds can come from multiple directions, so you'll always be forced to fight something from somewhere. They won't just come in one direction. But when you get overrun, you can jump back down, and we'll be good. So the second floor is just used. The second floor just has a lot of small areas. Used to make Zed encounters more difficult, and you can still loop to get from one room to the next, so that you can move without feeling trapped. And the choke points, as we saw, they lead to open areas, so you won't really feel trapped. And it's good for in the earlier waves to go to open areas, but in later waves you'll be more forced to fight the Zeds. Just to show the critical route, we went up here, over into a fireplace room, over into a master bedroom, which we didn't show yet, I don't believe. But we went over here to the upper area of the Grand Hall, over to the pool/billiard room, over into another fireplace, over into the upper area, back down to the foyer again. So I don't know if I showed it yet, but this is the other fireplace area, and this is the master bedroom that we can go from up top here. This is the door that we saw from the library. If you come up here, this door leads to the master bedroom, so it just allows you to it gives you another way to get to between the second and first floors. I tried to make the layout a bit interesting by just putting things in an interesting manner. You see things lying about the floor, thrown around to contribute to the theme. And in terms of the spawns, we have 8 of them. So we have one right here, This is a medium spawner. This is a small spawner. We have one over here, which is a large spawner. We have one over here, which is a medium spawner. So I try to give them different types, so small, medium, large, so that we can have variety in terms of the amount of enemies that come towards us, and it's good for getting the place. I try to place the spawns in ways that where I can get the enemies to come from multiple directions. As you saw, they came from the right, they came from the left, and they came from the front. Um, and then so that's 3. We have one over here. This is 4. Um, one over here. This is 5. One down here, this is 6. One back here, this is 7. This is a boss spawn, and one back here, this is 8. So basically, when placing them, I try to make them target at least. I try to have them the spawns. I try to place the spawns in a way where each area has at least 2 spawns that target it. For example, this spawn it can target the foyer. It can target this fireplace room. It can target this pool room. This spawn can target this fireplace room. It can target the hallway. It can target the grand hall. This spawn in the display room. The display room can target the grand hall. The back room can target the library. This spawn in the back room can target the display room, the library, the grand hall. So basically, just use it. I try to have at least 2 spawns that target one area. So that we can have Zeds coming from multiple directions instead of just one direction. Things like that. Um, and in terms of movement, I have the Zeds be able to move through these alternative routes so that they can drop down and surprise the player. So that if the player is standing back here and trying to shoot the Zeds, you'll have Zeds dropping from above, right in front of them to make it a bit more interesting. In terms of the traders, I have 4. We got one right there in the front, one in the back, one all the way to the right in the master bedroom, and so that's right there, and one all the way to the left in the fireplace room. And I try to um, place them on the 4 sides, so front, left, right, front, back, right, left, because I figured players would be in the middle more often, and I want them to get them to move around the map. In terms of the animal pickups, there's 4 of them. So there's one right here. There's one right here, and I placed them there to get players to be drawn over to this area and be drawn over into this choke point. So if they're coming from over here, they can see that green glowing light. Come over here, pick this up, and be more likely to come over here, which they'll be more likely to. And this will create an opportunity to force the players to fight the Zeds because of the small area. We have the third one is right here. So if players are staying back here to try and to fight the Zeds or staying along the edges and not moving out in the open, I want to draw the player out in the open so that they can collect this. And if they do, they might be more likely to continue on their path into the foyer because they have Zeds coming from behind them. So just used to get the player to move to other areas. And same with this. If the player comes into the library and sees this right there, they'll be more likely to go up the stairs and to the 2nd floor, so they will be more likely to go to another area. So that is my map. Also, I just wanted to show that I placed the stairs here so that when players come through the door, they are immediately presented with the stairs so that they're more drawn to the stairs. And they'll be more likely to go to the 2nd floor just to direct their movement. So that is it.